He's one of Montreal's most recognizable citizens. But who is he really? What actually is Youppi's origin story? No, keep going.
Bonnie Erickson. I am the designer of Youppi.
You may not recognize Bonnie Erickson's name, but you probably know her work.
Miss Piggy, The Two Old Men, George the Janitor. Actually, Zoot was done out of foam initially. A lot of other characters that were seen on The Muppet Show.
Back then, Bonnie didn't know some of her creations would become some of the most beloved and timeless mascots in sports.
I have to admit, I'm not a fan of sports.
But she did work with Jim Henson, who was being approached by sports teams for mascots. That included the leadership of the Philadelphia Phillies. And they wanted something like San Diego's chicken.
He said, okay, and get me the people that created Big Bird, because, he went right to the top.
Dave, Bonnie, and Youppi's stories are forever intertwined. At 22, he became the first performer to give life to her first mascot, the Philly Fanatic.
They called me up my fraternity house and said, do you want to come back? And it was 1978. I said, yes, what do you want me to do? You need to go to New York and get ready for the costume show. So I show up at this, Geppetto's puppet studio, and I meet Bonnie, and I realize, wait, these are the Muppets. And Bonnie's one of the most talented people I've ever met. And she knew nothing about sports, zero, which actually helped her because she wasn't confined by anything.
So while Jim Henson wasn't available, his contemporary Bonnie, who was a master of foam sculpting, was.
I think Sesame Street might have been a little bit on their mind, but not on mine. I thought there should be some character that really could do things on the field that fans would love to do but couldn't.
The Fanatic made its debut in 1978. His popularity caught the attention of Expos Vice President Roger D. Landry, who decided his team needed a mascot like that to entertain fans and bring in more families. So they called on Harrison Erickson, the company Bonnie started with her husband Wade, who, by the way, was a sports fan.
It was a new business. We never said no to anything. And so when they said, come to Montreal and let's talk about doing a mascot, I said, you betcha, because I love Montreal. So it was a great opportunity, but I didn't realize in April, it's a little chilly, but it did allow Wade to buy me my first fur coat. So I have to thank the team for that one.
And so Youppi was born. Bonnie made him orange, which wasn't even an Expos color, but she thought it would be easier for fans to find him in the giant Olympic Stadium. They named him Youppi because they thought that's the kind of excitement they wanted kids to have when they saw him. That was important because he was taking over for the team's ill-fated mascot Suki, who, quite frankly, terrified kids.
Here is a new chap, the Expos' brand new mascot, whose name is Youppi. And he's going to shake it and groove it and hop it around a little.
I believe we sort of started this whole feeling that people could use characters in a way not like the photo op, but actually give them a life, give them a way to be and among humans.
He wasn't really a troublemaker, but he did get up to some crazy antics in the Olympic Stadium, including bungee jumping from the roof, wheeling around his four-wheeler, and becoming the first mascot to be tossed from a Major League Baseball game.
Off the Dodger dugout, he's bugging the Dodger players, and Tom Lasorda is out. And third base umpire Bob Davidson is throwing Youppi out of the ball game. He wants him off the Dodger dugout. Tommy Lasorda has put up a complaint.
In the 80s and 90s, Youppi was everywhere. There were dolls, hats, pins, baseball cards, and even
chocolate figurines of Youppi. And I'm like, I got jealous. I went, I don't have a chocolate figure. I just have these little plastic figures. Nobody can eat me.
Fans couldn't get enough.
The beauty of the Phillies and the Expos as an organization was they recognized the value.
And that's kind of how it went. The Expos and Youppi were inseparable. That is, until news broke that the team had been sold and would be moving to Washington.
Well, it was devastating. I thought, oh no, well, will they take Youppi with them? But then I heard he'd become a free agent.
Bienvenue au Centre Bell et merci d'avoir pris le temps de venir avec nous. C'est une journée très importante pour nous aujourd'hui. L'organisation a 96 ans et puis il n'y a jamais eu une mascotte dans l'équipe.
There was such a strong bond between him and fans in the city that we recognized that it was important to kind of keep him here if at all possible. So there was a negotiation between Major League Baseball and the NHL and the Montreal Canadiens organization to keep him here and keep his services in Montreal for fans.
Youppi va apporter beaucoup de joie à beaucoup de monde.
And he became the first mascot, I believe, in pro sports history to go from one pro sport to another.
In 2020, Youppi was inducted into the Mascot Hall of Fame, in part because his teams just cared so much for him.
And that's one of the things in the criteria that we have listed is that you're not just making money, you're not just moving your fans, you're making your community better.
In his new life as a hockey mascot,
Youppi va être obligé d'apprendre à patiner.
Je pense qu'il patine.
he learned how to skate. He's a regular at some of the city's biggest festivals in the off-season. And of course, he rarely misses a chance to hang out with fans in the community. Believe it or not, Youppi's almost spent as much time with the Canadians as he did with the Expos. So, nearly 50 years and a million selfies later, what's behind Youppi's staying power?
The support of the team is really, really important so that everybody sort of gets behind it. The players,
big orange fella who loves the boys and he always supports us.
there has to be a relationship so that they can play off one another. I think that's certainly been one of the things that's led to the longevity of Youppi.
Some mascots you see, especially today, have different personalities. Youppi was always there to be approachable and lovable, and the Expos certainly presented him that way, and he continues to be that for us here with the Canadians.
He doesn't change, or not much. So I think the fact that people can rely on him to be there, they can look forward to seeing him. It's another one of those things that's always something you can count on in a world where not always everything is that way. He's an evergreen.
But, orange.